men today are lonely. They're isolated. There's an epidemic of friendlessness manifest in loneliness, and the Surgeon General's even admitted so. And this isn't guys who know God or don't know God, guys who go to church or guys who don't go to church, leaders with whole lot of knowledge of the Bible, or guys who aren't leaders. It's everybody. And leaders sometimes have it worse because they're kind of famous, busy, wealthy, everyone's clapping for them or criticizing them, so they pull away and kind of protect their image and get too busy to connect with guys who know everything going on in their life, which is my definition of a real friend. Someone who knows everything going on in your life and you know what's going on in his, and you support each other.
Kill Complacency, a podcast that inspires growth and intentionality and helps you overcome your greatest obstacles.
So my guest today is Jeff Kemp, and he's my brother. He's a mentor. I look up to him. I met him. I listened to him on the Family Life Cruise, and I just felt like this was a message that we needed to get out and get him in front of more people. So Jeff is a retired NFL quarterback, and your dad was a quarterback too, but Jeff, I'm kind of curious, how did you go from quarterbacking to this family ministries, this men ministries that you have? Was that foundational to you in college, or was it a result of the NFL? Or
I don't know if it was foundational to me in college. That's probably when it was least foundational. The quick backdrop is my dad had a 13-year NFL career. He was a quarterback. He's a great encourager. He always told me my day was going to come, I'd be a starter. I was a very late bloomer. I didn't play much in junior high school or high school. 2 years on the bench in college before I got to be a starter. Free agent into the NFL with the Rams. Ended up kind of persevering and getting to start for a couple of years, and was usually a backup. But growing up, partly with my dad's encouragement, partly with my optimistic, persevere, personality, I just always knew I was going to play pro football, but I really wasn't that good. And I also needed to perform and become a starter to satisfy my identity needs. In other words, I wrapped up who I was on how am I performing and am I succeeding? And that for me was largely football, partially school, and good grades and stuff. My dad and I actually turned out to be the very first of 6, I think there's 7 now, 7 NFL father-son quarterbacks.
And you were the first.
Yeah, and then my little brother played in Canada, so I'm sure we are the first to have that combo. We're definitely not the best or the most famous. The Mannings will win that category. But my outlook in life was, I got to become a quarterback. I got to become a starter. In college, I was questing for that and coasting and drifting in my faith, not rebelling against God or anything, just kind of putting him on the shelf for a while I was pursuing whatever I thought would make me popular and successful. And I kind of got to the end of the college journey at Dartmouth, and everything finally turned out well. I was the starting quarterback for 2 years. I had a free agent contract with the Rams, which wasn't much of a guarantee, but at least it was a crack in the door to try out for my game. I had a good grade point average from a great university, college actually. And my acne had cleared up. I had girlfriends. I was in a fraternity. I was popular. All this stuff was great. But about 2 or 3 nights at the end of college while we were partying, and usually I was quite drunk, I'd go to bed and I was sober spiritually because I was considering my future and how has these 4 years worked out. And I was like, geez, I'm having so much fun. Everything's cool. I'm a success. Why am I empty? Why do I feel like this? And the answer that came to me by God's revelation, not my own, the many beers that day didn't help, but God was knocking on the heart of my the door to my heart, and Romans 8:28 came in my life, and it kind of said to me, hey, you've been thinking that all things work together for those who love God, with a period in the sentence right there. But what Romans 8:28 actually says is, God works for good in all things for those who love him and are called according to his purpose, his kingdom. his love, his mission, his will. And I realized, wow, I'm not, Jeff is my purpose, not Jesus.
Mm,
And
mm,
that's the shift I need to make. So I made that shift as best I could. We're all JV when we get started in our faith. When I went out to the Rams, I made the team. Soon I met my wife. I met a bunch of guys that were believers. They became my best friends. I got
mm,
mentored and coached and discipled and taught the Bible by chaplains and other players. The NFL discipled me in the sense that I kept getting traded and couldn't count on security in football. So I looked to the Lord for my
mm,
identity and my security.
mm,
One day you're on the Rams, next day you're on the Niners. You play well, but they want Joe Montana and Steve Young instead of you. Pretty good choice by
mm,
them. And you're traded again to Seattle. One day you're starting, next day you're cut. Don't have a
mm.
job in the middle of the season. Starting quarterback to so did I lose my identity because of that? It certainly hurt, but I would have lost my identity had I not realized my identity is in
Sure.
my relationship with God. I'm a son of a perfect father who loves me unconditionally, and Jesus is the one who earned that adoptive role for me, my identity. So the football journey discipled us, and we kept having influence with other couples and other guys on the teams. And by the end of my career, it was like, yes, I want to be ready to play, but if not, I have a mission on this team
Mm,
to influence the guys. And my wife and I were an encouragement to the young unmarried couples and the married couples. And then that just turned into neighborhood outreach around marriage and then young marrieds at church. And I kind of knew when I retired from football that I would be doing something that served God and addressed families in an entrepreneurial way. And that's why I was running a nonprofit for 18 years. I um, kind of fired myself from that when we got in a financial pinch in 2010. Um, so it could keep operating at a smaller budget with a younger guy in charge. And I went to work for Family Life, the group that you and I met on the
yeah.
Family Love Like You Mean It cruise. And then I think 8 years ago, um, I resigned and just started doing mission speaking to men full time. So Men Huddle is my vehicle for helping guys figure out their identity as sons of Abba Father instead of trying to perform or pretend or achieve
Mm,
or fake it. Um, and you can't earn your identity. You can't achieve it. You receive it.
mhm,
And then secondly, that guys need to walk in teamwork. Jesus did it that way. He
mm.
had close friends, Peter, James, and John. He trained 12 other dudes to be friends. He sent them out as friends two by two. That's the Bible's way. And no wonder when we don't follow Jesus's way, men today are lonely. They're isolated.
Yep.
There's an epidemic of friendlessness manifest in loneliness, and the Surgeon General's even admitted so. And this isn't guys who know God or don't know God, guys who go to church or guys who don't go to church, leaders with whole lot of knowledge of the Bible, or guys who aren't leaders. It's everybody. And
Sure.
leaders sometimes have it worse because they're kind of famous, busy, wealthy. Everyone's clapping for them or criticizing them, so they pull away and kind of
Mm,
protect their image and get too busy to connect with guys who know everything going on in their life, which is my
mm.
definition of a real friend, someone who knows everything going on in your life and you know what's going on in his and you support each other.
Over the years, I have been coached by countless mentors, and now I want to offer that to you as well. How? By Marty Hofmann's Life Coaching. This will be a 6-week program in which I will guarantee you will develop a more growth mindset. We will set goals and learn about the importance of the processes and habits behind those goals. I will also help you see your story differently as things happening for you, not to you. We will also be discussing your future self and give you clarity on who that is and what it looks like. For more information, please follow the link below or hop on martyhoffman.com and follow the coaching link. Jeff, I'm curious. You kind of talked about the roller coaster of the NFL and getting traded. How was your wife, Stacy, within all that? Was that hard on her?
My wife, Stacy, is a rock. She was awesome as a pro quarterback's wife,
Hmm.
not because she clapped a whole lot, um, but because she covered the bases at home. She made
Mm.
our family stable. She gave me the freedom to focus really intently
Mm.
during the season. And I'd go away for 5 or 6 weeks for training camp, and she'd, have our family
Yeah.
as a single mom for those times, and
Mm.
um, get the kids on the phone with me and have them write little notes to me, and sometimes bring them to training camp for a picnic lunch during our couple, hour off or something. And then when we got traded, which happened two times, and then moved to Philadelphia from the Seahawks, that was a third move. She handled most all those details. One season,
Mm.
1991, I got cut in the middle of the season as a starter, and my son says a prayer that God would give me a new team. He asked God to put me on the Eagles. He didn't even know that they were a pro football team. His soccer team was named the Eagles. He was 6 years old. And, my wife had been praying that God would stir our faith and grow our kids'
Mm.
sense of seeing God work. And the next morning, the Philadelphia Eagles called me and signed me, and I'm on a plane. Um,
Wow.
and
It
it
gives me
was
goosebumps.
9 days later, she moved the kids to Philadelphia and handled most all of that by herself because I was,
Mm.
cramming to learn the Eagle system and get ready to play. Um, so I think you'd say the reason Stacy handled it well is because she's got a very strong faith,
Mhm.
very clear in her identity in Christ, and very clear about sovereignty. Sovereignty meaning
Mm.
God is in total control when we
Mm.
see it and when we don't see it. Not only is he in control, but he's benevolent,
Mm.
meaning God lovingly has his hand on even the worst things that happen. And
Mm.
all things do work together for God's good for
Yep.
those who love God and are called according to his purpose. She lives out that verse. She trusts that whatever comes, God's in it and he'll help us through it. That doesn't mean, there aren't tears, there isn't hardship. She doesn't have challenges, but she knew God was enough. And she was a great teammate to me
Mm.
in football. We actually do better in crisis than we do when things are coasting along because our personalities are both super strong and then opposite in every other way. So we
Mm.
kind of bug each other when things are going well. And, her style clashes with mine or mine with hers. But when things are tough and we got to pull together essentially as a team, man, we do great. And I'm so thankful for her faith and that my mom prayed that I'd find a woman with faith in Jesus to marry
Mm.
because that prayer was answered.
Uh, you have a book called "Turning Trials into what is it? Turning Trials into Triumphs."
Yeah, it's called
So
facing the blitz. Three strategies for turning trials into
yes,
triumphs. And the metaphor of football is the blitz can be very, very dangerous, but it can also be the best opportunity of the game.
sure.
And that's what happens with life. Jesus said, in this world, you're going to get blitzed, but hey, don't panic. I've overcome the blitz. Now, that's the NFL version. Marty, you might not have that version. The NIV, ESV says, in this world, you'll have trouble, but do not fear. I've overcome the world. Jesus literally took the worst blitz in the history of humanity,
Mm.
a perfect man who all of his followers and the Jews were expecting and hoping he'd become the ruling king and overthrow Rome. And instead, Rome falsely accused and arrested and beat him up.
Mhm.
And with the Jewish priests' prideful orchestration, they crucified him.
Mm.
And he was buried. And it looked like the worst blitz, the worst loss ever. But it was the greatest victory ever. No one has ever
Yes.
raised from the dead like that and stayed alive. And every single thing that Jesus said and predicted has come true.
Mm.
And he showed that faith in Jesus, Christianity, is different than every other approach that people take to religion or eternity or something. This is God coming down, God, the perfect one, humbling himself to take the punishment, God letting himself be put in a grave, and then God coming off the cross and out of the grave, coming alive, being seen by 500 people, saying, hey, I'm going away, but don't worry, because it's better that I send the Holy Spirit to be with all of my people at the same time.
Yeah.
So that is the essence of what's important, Jesus.
Yep.
And he beat the blitz. Thus, the book lays out biblical strategies for turning dangerous, uncomfortable, awkward losses, surprises, blitzes, life's blitzes into positives. If they don't turn around, become a touchdown, they may transform our faith. They may
Sure.
transform our character. We may become more humble, more dependent like Jesus was. And that's a win, even
Hmm.
if we don't get healed from cancer, even if we
Correct.
don't get out of the bankruptcy, even if the marriage isn't saved.
Hmm.
Um, we need our soul to be saved. We need our character to be changed. We need Jesus's purposes accomplished, and those can
Mm.
always be accomplished.
Yeah. Jeff, I really think you scored well with your wife because I mean, you guys are a team on that. And you said that a little bit ago, like we almost do better with trials. That's why I thought to bring it up right there.
She's great in the blitzes.
Yeah. She's like, bring them on. And a lot of it's because her anchor is Jesus, right? And
Totally.
it's what you
It's not
said.
just I like Jesus. I love Jesus. I go to church Jesus. I read a Bible verse about Jesus. It's her
Hmm.
identity and her security in life, that which she trusts in,
Hmm.
is rock solid, that God's in control, God loves her, and God will take care of things. That is an anchor of
Hmm.
faith in a sovereign God. That's the essence. And many of us believers struggle to get to that level of
Sure.
confidence in God, of strong trust. When we say we have faith
Hmm.
that when we die we'll go to heaven, but do you have faith that God's with you in this situation right now? Do you have
Mm.
faith when your marriage is struggling, when you lose your job, when cancer is tough? Um, do you have faith when the economy shifts and your business doesn't make it? Um, is God still in control in your emotions? Or are you like, God, you're messing up. I need your help. I can't handle this. That's not faith, you know?
Hmm.
We all have emotions and doubts. But when I doubt, I say, you're undoubtable and you're true. And
Mm.
we come back to that, which is why it's so important to stay in the scripture. David preached to
Yeah.
himself all the time how good God is, that he's always
Yeah.
come through. He'd say, my life is hell right now. Everything's going bad. My son's attacking me. The armies are attacking me. I'm hiding in the caves. Woe is me. Did you abandon me, God? And then he turns the corner in every psalm and he says, but I will remember the God who's always been faithful
Hmm.
to me and to my forefathers. You are good. I will trust in you. That's kind of how
Hmm.
David finishes. So he's not afraid to be real, to be honest, to pour
Yep.
his heart out, to describe the human condition. But then he trumps it with the God truth and the God character and the
Mm.
God proven behavior and faithfulness from the past.
If you want to wear a billboard of a message of kill complacency or live intentionally, then check out my merch store. It's www.mindsetshop.com. Mindset is with an X, so it's MINDXET shop, SHOP.com. Mindsetshop.com. So talk to me about this first ministry, the Stronger Families. You and your was that a Jeff and Stacy thing? Was that a
Well,
Jeff
it was Jeff
thing?
and Stacy thing. She was on the board and she had to do the same thing she did in football. Um, Encourage me, pray for me, keep our home stable, set me up to be the best dad I can be. Um, but she was not operating in the ministry. It
Mm.
was something that I helped build and was the uh, president of. And she served on the board with other couples that served. The gist of the mission at Stronger Families was to strengthen the conditions in the Northwest part of the United States to help communities become great places to be married and raise a family.
Sure.
So we were fueling promotion of fatherhood and marriage and equipping resources and strategies of churches to work together, helping the military work to strengthen their marriages, which face extra stress. And I was largely an advocate for why marriage is worth investing in. And you can do way, way better if you prepare for marriage and invest in it and get some enrichment and go try to save it with a solid biblical counselor, rather than just give up on it like a consumer item that didn't satisfy you. So you give
Sure.
up and trade in for something else. So I did that for 18 years with a great board of directors, my wife's support, strong staff. And I think since I helped found the organization, I didn't let go of it very well when the season ended. And even in God's sovereign way, we went through a financial blitz and
Mm.
probably would have had to shut it down and end operating unless we came up with a radical solution, which was the two top leaders, myself and my CEO, fired ourselves, downsized it, got our salaries out of it, and let a young
Mm-hmm.
man take over with a focus today solely on military and first responder marriages.
Mm.
But I've always been about strengthening fatherhood and marriage and the family as the anchor of society.
Jeff, can you tell me how that was born? I mean, how long after you got out of the NFL did you start that? Were those seeds started from the NFL? Was there a mentor that kind of planted those seeds?
Well,
How did, like, it's a huge need, right? To focus on the men in the families and pour into them.
yeah, I guess my mom and dad had a strong commitment to our own family. My mom being the in the home, daily personal relationship with God and kind of, home champion. My dad, kind of the macro, bring us together for dinner time and say we always
Mhm.
have dinner conversations and have vacations and bring the family together, celebrate and rejoice in his family a lot. But really, my mom, practiced it day in and day out. Secondly, my mom and dad were influencers, dad on a national and international scale, saying,
Mhm.
we need to change our nation to be healthy for businesses,
Mm.
entrepreneurs, and families with local control and free enterprise, and Judeo Christian biblical principles that protect religious freedom for everyone, whether they have a faith or not. So I knew there was leadership to make a difference that mattered. And that's the way my parents lived. My mom was on boards of directors for Prison Fellowship and other
Mm.
ministries that were trying to improve the world and advance God's gospel um, into practical ways that make life better for others, whether they accept Jesus or not.
Mhm.
And then my wife and I were very much influenced by certain speakers at conferences during our pro football days with a ministry called Pro Athletes Outreach that still operates today. And they bring pro football, pro baseball, hockey players, basketball players
Mhm.
together after their seasons, and they teach them how to build your identity in Christ, have a relationship with Him, how to strengthen marriage or understand marriage, how to be a parent, how to use your platform and your faith um, to guide others to God.
Mhm.
So that ministry gave me a good vision of how to operate a ministry. Um, and I already knew from some of the speakers that helped us with our family and from Focus on the Family's broadcast, Dr. Dobson at the time, Jim Daly today,
Mhm.
and Dennis Rainey and the Family Life broadcast. We were using those radio shows and podcasts and resources to build our marriage and to raise our family. And I
Mhm.
knew how important that was to the culture. And
Mm.
I wanted to make a difference. And I didn't want to be in government because the hours and the campaigning and the travel
Sure.
aren't really going to allow you to coach little league football and things that I want to do
Mhm.
with my kids. So people always ask me, "Are you going to run for office? You going to do, following your dad's footsteps?" And I kind of followed in his footsteps, but not through politics. I wanted to do it
Sure.
through cultural
On the home
influence,
front. Yeah.
through a ministry that strengthened marriage, fatherhood, family. I still serve on the Fatherhood Commission, a
Mm.
network of about 300 different fathering leaders and organizations. So, as football was getting toward the end, I knew um, I'm probably going to get involved in some sort of cause to make the world better. And marriage and family and
Mm.
fatherhood and manhood were kind of the epicenter for me. And it's morphed over the years to a very tight focus on men because I can
Yeah.
influence marriage as well by influencing husbands. I
Yep.
can influence fathering well by focusing on men. And I've seen that one of the biggest problems with men is they are not clear in their identity
Mm-hmm.
So they operate in the comparison and performance and insecurities of this culture, which is as comparative and surface oriented as ever. And finally, we talked about what at the beginning of the show, that guys are isolated.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of guys in their phone contact list, but they don't have guys that they can talk to at 2 a.m. And they
Yeah.
definitely don't have guys that they talk to Wednesday this week, Wednesday next week, Wednesday the next week, text in a
Mm-hmm.
crisis, and just stay deep with, where your
Yeah.
life is lived in the openness and honesty of being known by another guy and knowing him. So that's my focus, is helping men.
Do you think women do that better than men?
They connect better than men initially, but you can find that many women in their insecurity
Mm-hmm.
talk about their feelings and their circumstances, but it's sometimes on the surface because they're still insecure and wanting to look good.
Yeah. That's kind of
right?
what I was. It's kind of what I was thinking.
I think men and women both need the security of their identity to
Mm-hmm.
choose to be transparent and vulnerable, and knowing how to build trust on the front end so you feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's crucial to that for women and for men.
Yeah.
I don't think takes that long for men. If you say, I want to be confidential, do you want to be confidential? I want to have your back, do you want to have my back? I'd love to share my background with you, tell my story. I hope you would too, and let's respect each other, and then do a handshake, kind of a manly, yes, we agree. If you do that, a man's cool and he'll open up. But those intentional things aren't things that men usually do. So we just keep coasting, and we're not sure if the guy's safe, so we don't share. Even in small groups, Christianity has tons of small groups, which I'm in huge favor of. But friendship ought to be the basis of small groups.
Sure. So
that you can be more honest and disclosing of what's really going on in your life. Celebrate Recovery, which is a recovery program for AA, for drugs, for alcohol, for sex addiction, for whatever. They do a great job of talking about God and the Bible as the solution.
Yeah.
In a total honest way, where you're putting who you really are on the table, including your mistakes and struggles and weaknesses. I have a son that has gone to a bunch of Celebrate Recovery classes and meetings. And he said, Dad, this is the way church should be.
Yeah.
It's talking about Jesus and the Bible, but everyone's honest and not faking it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what friendship should be.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we really try to strive for that. But I would also argue, I think one of the first things it takes is that guy to say, hey, I want to be real with you. I just wanted to thank you guys for listening to the end. In closing, I just wanted to add that if this message resonates with you, if it aligns with your values, and something in it today triggered something, then you can also look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We are really trying to help people live more intentional lives, to kill the complacency with which they have subscribed to. I know there's many ways which I get sucked in all the time. So if this is beneficial, follow me there.